Hello, my name is Marjorie Mason. I'm a freshman vocal music education major, and today I will be talking about underfunding in the fine arts. The show Glee had a total of 6 seasons, and in each of these seasons, the teacher named Will Schuester had to advocate for the fine arts. He had to go before the principal and the superintendent to urge them to not cut the funding of the fine arts in the school. And although he had to fight this battle several times, he always managed to win because the school saw how integral the fine arts were to the growth of the students. The sad fact of this all is that the fine arts is the first thing to go when schools have to make budget cuts. They might try to advocate for it, but they don't always get the happy ending that the characters did in Glee. These programs keep getting cut even though it is proven that the fine arts contribute heavily towards brain development. It also helps produce higher test scores in students. The fine arts needs to be in schools because it is essential to the brain development of children and it helps people express themselves in a way that words simply cannot. Today I want to first talk about the effects that the fine arts have on people, then I will highlight why schools are so quick to cut the funding and how this affects students. Lastly, I will urge my audience to donate as much of their resources as possible and will also tell them how to do so. First, I will begin by telling you guys about the effects of the fine arts have on brain development. If schools cut the fine arts, then they run the risk of their students lacking brain development, especially in early childhood. So here is a picture of the brain, and it's hard to see, but there's all like it highlights like what is important and like how music and the fine arts help. People need to donate to schools that are undergoing budget cuts because the fine arts are usually the first one to go. Underfunded schools like Chicago Public Schools keep suffering from budget cuts because the government isn't financially supporting them as much. Because of these budget cuts, the fine arts in these schools have been given the axe. The students in these schools don't have the necessary resources for cognitive brain development. In the long run, this can lead to gang violence. Lack of resources in schools is a huge enabler for gang violence because students don't really have anything to encourage them not to do them. The problem is that schools cutting programs like the fine arts leads to students getting involved in gang violence. And the reason is that when students don't have the resources to help with cognitive brain development, especially when they don't have teachers encouraging them to channel their energy into something like the fine arts, they get involved in gang relations. And here's a picture of like gang violence that has been, see how how the lack of fine arts can possibly contribute to gang violence. A way to make sure that the fine arts remain in schools is by donating money or any of your other resources to these schools, such charities that specialize in this. The fine arts are so important to mental and emotional growth. Schools nationwide are cutting the fine arts from their curriculum. In fact, a lot of schools never even had a fine arts program in the first place. Since 2008, more than 80% of schools nationwide have experienced budget cuts. These budget cuts have forced these schools to decide which programs are more important, which leads to schools cutting music and art classes. According to KMSD.edu, 20% of schools offered dance and theater classes and 87% offered visual art classes during the 1999 to 2000 school year. After budget cuts happened, only 4% offered theater and only 3% offered dance. Although these programs had drastic changes, visual arts programs did not, with only experiencing a 4% drop. These programs are being cut because of the No Child Left Behind Act. When this act was put into place, schools started to focus more on STEM classes. Because of this focus, people started donating their money towards areas that focused more on standardized tests in order to keep the test scores high. The No Child Left Behind caused schools to focus more on tests and grades, and so while they were pushing all their money towards the core classes and tests, the fine arts classes that required the school to buy supplies for the students were cut first. Here is a picture, and it shows the the drastic decline of school funding for the fine arts. So you may be asking yourself, who is affected? Anyone that goes to an underfunded school is affected. Students who are involved in the arts score significantly better on standardized tests like the SATs and the ACTs. But since they have very little exposure to the arts, they tend to not score well on these tests. Art has the role in education of helping children become like themselves instead of more like anyone else, says Sidney Gurewitz Clemens. I hope that you can all see why the arts are so important, especially to adolescents. But now I want to tell you why you personally should donate as much of your resources as possible. By donating to the arts, you will be helping so many younger and early students in underprivileged schools get the resources necessary for development. This is how you can go about donating resources to these schools. The main way to donate to the fine arts is by donating money. There are dozens of websites that specialize in giving back to the arts. The website gives off a very detailed description of where and why people should donate to these companies. One of the corporations is the Public Broadcasting Service, otherwise known as PBS. This company not only gives out very educational content, but it also gives back to the community. PBS says that for just $1.35 a year, you not only would be supporting this company, but you would also be supporting the various arts programs that the PBS also supports. This is almost like a sort of chain reaction. Here is the PBS logo. See the Corporation of Public Broadcasting. They even offer PBS Kids, which is for young adolescents. Another way to donate resources is by fundraising for these programs. Step 1 of the plan. You can turn in any type of artwork, theater, performance, and music that you've been working on into a fundraiser. Selling your work for a profit is a great way to raise money and then donate. You could even attend or put on a benefit concert for these programs. I hope you can see that donating to the arts is important and that there are different ways to donate. But now let's take a look at what would happen if the arts didn't exist in schools. Imagine if all the funding of the arts in every school nationwide got cut. The hallways would be quiet and the walls would be bleak because there's no artwork to showcase. There would be no music playing as students go from class to class, and hundreds of students who were in the arts don't have a way to express themselves anymore. And students in the arts also don't have a career plan now because they have no way to practice at schools. Thousands of teachers would be out of jobs, making the unemployment rate go up. This is not something that only would have a negative effect on people already in the arts. It affects everyone in the long run, and people won't realize how important the arts are until it's late. So please don't wait until it's too late. Please donate as many of your resources as soon as possible. The arts are so important for the brain. It is one of the key factors of brain development, and students in underfunded schools might not have the resources for brain development if the arts are cut. The fine arts has a huge impact on people, and without it, students might turn to other destructive activities like gang affiliation. Robert Frost once said, "If you're looking for something to be brave about, consider fine arts." I give you all different yet vital ways to donate to the arts. Please donate to the arts so that students in underprivileged communities can have the same experiences you all possibly did. If you're going to be brave about a cause, please let it be about the arts. Let the arts transform these students the way that it may have transformed you.